the spiral shape is one of the most basic shapes that will happen when you have two circular beams and you counter-rotate them together. So the idea that this is HARP or that this is scalar technology or blue beam, it could be all the above. And the spiral would be like the most basic form that it would take, because what you're actually seeing is ripples in the ether. You're seeing ripples in the, because the torsion field ultimately is fluid-like, and as I said before, the air doesn't have enough viscosity to have 18 layers of spirals coming from a freaking rocket. It's obviously not that. So we can rule that out right away. The official explanation is obviously not worth the paper it's printed on. What we're left with is, we've been hearing all this stuff about disclosure. We know the stakes are very high. We know that Obama was about to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Hoagland has been arguing all along that that may have been contrived in order to give him the legitimacy to speak on behalf of the planet when he makes the announcement. So Hoagland has always been thinking that it wouldn't have happened, that there would be no disclosure until after he gets that prize. So it is very interesting that there's some very highly extraterrestrial-looking thing that happens in the same country where he's about to give this speech and receive this award. This is not, I've had some very angry and nasty emails come in. I know you have too, Carrie. People thinking that we're just spouting off and that there's not going to be a disclosure and they just can't believe any of this stuff. But if you haven't figured out that this is real by now, then, you're not going to be prepared, because one of the things we have to look out for is the possibility that this is actually going to be used for negative purposes. It may not be, oh, wow, look at our space brothers, they're here to help us, isn't this wonderful?
Absolutely.
It could very well be the opposite. It could very well be that if this is blue beam that we're seeing given a road test here in the atmosphere over Norway, what could they do next? They could make it look like Jesus, or they could make it look like a UFO, or they could make it look like a big fire coming from the sun.
That's right. These pyramids, if you look at them, are so real-looking, but they could be holograms. And, we talked to John Lear quite a while back, and he described this technology and the fact that it was being used, it was in use, and that he had documented evidence from a scientist in California who'd seen one over a freeway in the Bay Area that looked just like an airplane. But for some reason he knew that it was a hologram. So this stuff is, they're way ahead of us. Obviously we've got, I think it was Jake Simpson talking about them being something like, 10,000 years ahead of us in terms of technology.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just talking about the black project. Okay?
I've heard the same kind of stuff.
We're talking about humans. Yeah. We're not talking about ETs or, or visitors from other planets, dimensions, or whatever. We're talking about the people who are on the planet with us right here and now. That's what we're up against in a sense. In other words, in terms of controlling consciousness and the perception, because as, any movie maker knows, perception is everything.
Yeah, but don't forget, Carrie, this is the same thing I'd be telling you if we were having dinner together right now. It's just that now we have many thousands of witnesses to our dinner conversation. But if you and I were having dinner privately and we were going in that direction, I would remind you about what we heard from Peterson, where he says that 15% of everybody on Earth, no mind control works on them at all. And that they had that technology they developed that proved that, you can make anybody completely harmless from mind control. Like, there's never going to be anything that can hit them. And it all has to do with your alleged, quote-unquote, frequency, which is basically how fast your brain is working and your, quote-unquote, vibration, although I know Peterson would never want us to use those terms because they're New Age, but that's the basis of the informational field. As it reaches critical velocity in terms of its vibrational speed within your energy field, you're no longer susceptible to this crap. I have to say that it really depends. I think that people are also able to, in other words, I don't like, the 15% thing is a little exclusionist, and I have to say that it's important that people realize that all you have to do is meditate and clean up your life and your karma, so to speak, and you can actually up your own vibration. So that's the point I was reaching. Yeah, I may not have said it very well.
At any time,
Right.
And so, that's real important. But it's a good point. absolutely. Now, I'm having some people asking me when we're going to take callers. Certainly, we could take callers here at the top of this hour for the next few minutes if you're willing, David, and then we could go on the next hour to some other subjects if you'd like.
Yeah, there's another very, very large basis of data that's come into view very recently that is totally relevant to our discussion that I did want to bring up at some point, and I can actually give everybody a website link to go look at too.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, we can field some calls first if you want to do that first, and then we can get into that later because it totally contextualizes everything we're talking about perfectly.
David's website is divinecosmos.com, and we will say that we are taking phone calls now. If you want to call in and ask some questions, we'll do that for about 10 minutes before we go to the commercials at the top of the hour. So you are welcome to call in. In the meantime, and I don't even know how this is going to happen because they haven't actually coached me on like, I don't know, does the phone ring or what happens? I have no idea. But somehow we're going to get callers. Right. So, hi, we've got some echo coming in the background. Do we have a caller on the line?
Hello?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, David. Hello, Carrie.
Hello?
Yeah, what's your name and what's your question?
Well, my alias is Greg. There's a lot of, I'm breaking security oaths as we know it right now. Basically, disclosure is happening. David, if you look towards some biblical pictures of UFOs,
right,
you'll find there's two buildings, and there's the same vortex in the center there, as known in biblical times. It's called Annunciation.
Are you speaking in regards to some of the photographs from Norway and the spiral, and you're saying there's buildings on either side of the spiral, and you're contextualizing that with biblical passages?
No, there's biblical pictures, biblical paintings from like early 14th centuries, saying that there would be a spiraling vortex to come out of the ground and open a wormhole up in the sky.
Well, of course, anything like that would require documentation. I'm not disagreeing with you. I would need to see the data to make my own conclusion. But
so you're saying you know of these paintings. Why would that be breaking a security oath? You want to elaborate?
Well, as we all know, the phenomenon that's been going on, there's been two holes that opened up over Russia. Then there was the scalar weapon that they used over Idaho to knock out basically the swine flu, which the scalar technology is light years ahead of anything else that we have. We got multiple bases on, not just in this galaxy, but in other sorts of galaxies out there, Pegasus, Centurion galaxy. Disclosure is taking place right now. It's been going on since the early 80s. If you look up Stargate Atlantis and look at the back of the credits, you see the help of Stargate Command, and I don't know, there's a lot of other things that are in the back there. But talking about scalar waves to take out diseases.
Well, that's great to hear. So you're saying it was used for a good purpose in Idaho recently. Is that
when you say you're looking at the credits, are you saying on the DVD box set, or are you saying at the end of the television show? I'm not aware of that being shown on the DVD or anything else. So where did you see that?
Well, when I first came out of where I was at, I didn't believe anything, and then I seen what was going on TV on Sci-Fi Channel, and I said, this is way too much for me, and it kind of lit something in myself. So I'd really like to talk in person more, and I'm going to be going to your Boston MK Ultra